Our new Bloomberg News Morning Consult swing state poll for the month of August is out now, and it shows Kamala Harris leading former President Trump in 6 of 7 swing states and tied in the 7th. Overall, across these 7 states, she is up by 2 points. And she has a wide lead, a significantly, statistically, one in Wisconsin, where she's up by 8 points. So joining me now for more on this breaking news is Bloomberg's Gregory Korte. So, Gregory, obviously this is a significant departure from where Joe Biden was polling when we were running these in months prior. And this is, while we're talking within the margin of error in many of these states, shows that this map is much wider for her than it was for Joe Biden.
Yeah, 2 months ago, we were talking about a very narrow path to victory for Joe Biden. You couldn't have counted him out, but he would have had to really, his path was through those blue wall states that we talk about so often, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. They're northern industrial states, very union-heavy, traditional Democratic stalwarts that went to Trump in 2016 and that Biden won back in 2020. With Kamala Harris on the ballot, it's a completely different map. It's a completely different chessboard because what she does is she opens up those Sun Belt states, those swing belt states of Arizona, Nevada, Georgia. And most interestingly on that map is North Carolina, which was a state that Donald Trump was winning by 10 points in our April poll. Frankly, a lot of pollsters stopped polling in North Carolina entirely, thinking he was out of reach. And so to see Kamala Harris up by 2 points, important to point out that's within the margin of error, but 2 points in North Carolina would have been unthinkable just a few months ago. And the fact that she's even competitive there, she's forcing Donald Trump to spend money to defend it. And that's part of the chess game that we get into, especially after Labor Day, when the airwaves and all of these 7 states are going to get deluged with political ads.
Yeah, as you mentioned, up 2 in North Carolina. Just to run through the numbers in each state for our Bloomberg TV and radio audience, she's also up 2 in Georgia. She's up by 4 in both Nevada and Pennsylvania, up by 8, as I said, in Wisconsin, 3 in Michigan. The state in which she's tied is Arizona. What else is significant about some of these polls is not just the headline figures when it comes to the state-by-state breakdown, but also on the issues. One of close to our hearts here at Bloomberg is the economy. I am struck by the fact that swing state voters trust her over Trump to help the middle class by a 7-point margin. Was this surprising to you, Gregory, the idea that the Biden economy that voters were really not happy with, an administration she's part of, she's not necessarily being drugged down by?
Yeah, what's really remarkable is that if you ask people how the economy is doing, their perception of it has not changed much over the past year. We've been doing this monthly tracking poll since last October. This is our 11th iteration of this. And people really aren't warming up to this economy. And a majority still say they were better off under Trump than they are under Biden. And yet, Kamala Harris does not seem to come with that Biden baggage on the economy. And so, as you point out, voters are trusting her on these economic issues more than they trusted Joe Biden. She's narrowing the gap. You mentioned the idea of, we asked who's better at protecting the middle class. She does well there. On the issue of housing costs, Joe Biden was 6 points underwater on that compared to Trump. Harris is 4 points ahead, so it's a 10-point swing in 2 months. She introduced this home ownership proposal where she's proposing giving $25,000 to first-time home buyers. That might have something to do with it. But on a number of issues, including health care costs and paychecks, she's also outperforming Trump, believe it or not.
Yeah, Trump still is outperforming her when it comes to the cost of everyday goods, we should point out. But there's other remarkable figures in here as well, including the protection of personal freedom. She's in the lead by 5 points across the swing states. What else stood out to you in this data, Gregory? Because we have a lot of it.
We do have a lot of it. And freedom is one that we specifically asked this month. We hadn't asked it before, but freedom, I think Harris mentioned, according to some accounts that I saw, the word freedom 11 or 12 times in her acceptance speech at the Democratic convention. It was really a conscious effort for Democrats to try to reclaim that word, which, if you go back 2 decades after 9/11, we got the Freedom Caucus of Republicans in the House. They renamed French fries Freedom Fries. It was a very sort of Republican concept, and so the fact that she is somewhat that she's actually ahead on that issue is kind of remarkable, because freedom is a buzzword that's more associated with Republicans recently. So yeah, we have that. We asked about which of these candidates is more patriotic. Mm-hmm. Trump has a little bit of the edge there. And then we looked at the vice presidential candidates, because this is a year where J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, the Republican and Democratic running mates respectively, are really higher profile than usual. And what we found was that Tim Walz seems to be an asset to Kamala Harris in a way that J.D. Vance is not for Donald Trump. Walz is perceived as more experienced, more competent, more honest, and more compassionate. People are more likely to describe Vance as dangerous and, frankly, weird, which is the attack line that Walz has used against the Republicans. And when we asked if the selection of the running mates made you more or less likely to vote for the top of the ticket, Walz has a considerable advantage there as well.